lungal ka tu biya ji dang dewa tu tu je di me ga do chin sal fu su wa es
시 당부터 거르지 마시오.
lungal de akas
동네 돌돌.
lungal de seminja ram lungal de seminja lungal
동네 일랑
seminja lungal ni la ngombar dewan de kyam timu rangi dewan razal chum
there's a the quote from Shantideva's text which says although there's a wish to avoid the suffering, but one runs after the cause of the suffering. Although one's desire happiness, but out of ignorance, one destroy the cause of happiness, as if it is one's own enemy. And here, obviously, Shantideva talks about the very kind of innate thought or attitude of a human being, not only human, also not only kind of higher rebirth sentient being, but even the smallest insects that wanting happiness and not wanting suffering. Even though that is the case, but out of ignorance, not knowing, we intentionally sort of run after the cause of suffering, and not wanting, but still we kind of run after planting the seed of suffering, and even wanting happiness, but we run after cause of non-happiness and trying to intentionally sort of block the cause of happiness. And as mentioned here, wanting a happiness but out of ignorance, and ignorance, as you know, generally there's just kind of the two common kind of ignorance. First being just simply not knowing. Second is more kind of opposite of intelligence, or valid intelligence, which is the object of negation of the wisdom of emptiness. So although we want to experience and enjoy happiness, but out of ignorance, we kind of intentionally sort of destroy the very cause of happiness that we desire so much, as if it is like an enemy.
Ben matolan da penna ku tata ji do marwa ben namason zisa danzi mari padam nyomu de wang ki chore ani lenga bate ki masu ta chi kaso tutu chi de la ni pe ngata jo pa da to su ich yungwa chaza tendi indu lungal de ta pali zenji khurane tangbo ni ke chibo jin sumudo lungal che pa cha kunjung pangwarja 고봉은 또 자세야 돼. 경고는 숨도. 뭐다 취해야 돼. 지금 문진 투가 돼. 저거 민스럽게 깨진 거예요. 이 문진 투네 애니 룽알디 유가야 같은 거 믿고 사야. 룽알 유 같은 요 요알아. 근데 누가데 타승이야 이거 맞대. 타니 땐 자원이는 왜 벌써 내가 좀 미혀서 많이 봐. 뭐 외기님 뭐인데 땐제는 타승이야. 땐이 매어서 통구이나 이 강리 중이 그디 라무공과라. 니베 집 로석기야가. 니베 연된 통나 니베 이 타승이야 지금 뭐바데 벨에 요아지 통이나 아니 지 남년len제라 조슈레디 세송도 이 많이 맞지네 아니 지 하게 덴디 마서나 아니 동안 시부르즈나 강 내바게는지 마서 이 시각 이기 텔레비전 말을 좀 전에 송 고바이 되게 좀 통화를 송송도 어떻게 이런 예술이 말아서 꺼뜨이나 동안 때 원진 투네 때기 전주 삼정과라 파 수능도 가라 즉 오늘 내 문분에서 송도와 동안을 설치는 당보고 동안 즉 옛날에 동안 넘버 수면하니 캬바도 지게 동안데 레레는 대원 기술의 동안데 이 캬바도 지게 동안데 셀라 사무탄이 니지두야 랑기 규토로 동안 랑기 규토로 사무탄이나 즉 하기 미반 제당 다지 지수 내라 여인사 대왕의 문중주사 너무 신수노다 그래서 오늘 아주 융기기 땐사 림바데 되기디 하게 놀을 때는 삼당바데 배천벌이 성도 없어
Generally, suffering, the cause of suffering, as you know, it's not knowing or ignorance. And that ignorance, we kind of, a further kind of sort of goes back to karmic action and, not knowing or ignorance here, the cause of suffering, these two. And not knowing here is within ignorance. Within ignorance, it's primarily ignorance, self-grasping. The important or the reason here is that we need to first of all identify this ignorance, which is the cause of all of our suffering, and then identifying, ignorance, the root cause of suffering. With that identification, we move on to, further kind of processes of training our mind, and that's where this the text comes, mind training, and identifying this kind of fundamental root cause of ignorance or the suffering is really important here. Otherwise, it would be like shooting an arrow in the darkness without seeing, one's target. So, therefore, first step is important, to identify the source of the root source of our own suffering and problem, and we see the same kind of approach in the teachings of Four Noble Truth. The Four Noble Truths. The first one is the truth of suffering. Second being origin of suffering, and third true path, and fourth true cessation. And Buddha mentioned that related to these four truths, a truth of suffering must be realized, a truth of origins of suffering must be eliminated, and truth of path must be meditated, and then truth of cessation must be actualized. So, and His Holiness the Dalai Lama kind of also emphasized the importance of these stages. First point being identifying suffering as a suffering and identifying the root cause of suffering. The reason is that if you identify the root cause of suffering, and if you understand that suffering is something that can be ceased, then that will generate desire, interest, encouragement in the practice of adopting a path. It will lead you to the second kind of noble truth, that is true path. I'm sorry, the third one, true path, in order to eliminate the cause of suffering, which is the second. And otherwise, if you don't understand the purpose of identifying, true suffering and the origin of suffering needs to be eliminated. Therefore, practice a path. If we just kind of talk about this, suffering without understanding, kind of its nature or its kind of, the elimination, able to eliminate, then it would be just kind of sometimes it seems become unnecessary kind of suffering, just talking about our own problem. And that kind of talking about suffering without any further purpose would be kind of not the objective of Buddha's teaching, or there's no benefit in that per se. So in that mind training, again we kind of talk about to begin with identifying different types of suffering, 3 types of suffering, and then within these 3 types of suffering, the third one is suffering of privation or conditioned suffering. And with understanding, the pervasive suffering, with that understanding, we try to generate compassion, and mainly understanding this suffering through one's own experiences, and generation of compassion, and generation of renunciation, using your own suffering, and therefore needing to liberate from your own suffering. So the point here is it is kind of helpful, when you look at the how the sequences of the presentation has been made in the text. It would be kind of helpful, and it's important to understand why the sequences is such.
단단을 중망변 되는 거다. 수수된도 그러나 가르래. 야세 야와는 야시니라 야와서는 성기지. 야기 야외 세즈 정치 세바지. 대니라 공부하는 타도 보면 이제는 버지마다 제요 말에. 랑친진 키는 좀 서들가 이제는 버지마다 공부해요 말에. 이제는 버지마다 공부하면 되잖아. 이 트는 풀리나 이 공부 두고 뭐라. 공부 두고 되잖아. 소세 신전적인 설기도 수진 지 원에 하기 된 불과의 비슷한 때가 두고 와. 맞아? 이인도가 맞아. 자 가리 있잖아. 진 니네기 진든지 두바드나 충사지는 것도 때 가소래. 기바사데 겸사지니 너시 충사지나 지 하게 용이 좀 참아지니 너지니 아니 여와사야 돼. 게 전부 성도 강제가 돼 용이 좀 참아지지.
Renunciation, as mentioned before, becomes much more effective if that renunciation is based upon your own personal experience. And then, not only that, it is also beneficial in kind of recognizing, identifying your own suffering. Psychic existence, being in a samsara, either whether it is external or internal, we go through 12 links of dependent origination, beginning with ignorance, and then creates karma and action, and then so here renunciation must kind of based on one's own personal experiences, and using your own experiences and then generating a renunciation, wanting to kind of free yourself from cyclic existence, suffering of cyclic existence. That's the kind of a first step, and then moving on to the next one is once you kind of divert that renunciation, that understanding towards outside, that becomes a compassion. This thought of may all sentient beings be free from a suffering, and then comes the compassion, and that compassion is actually a thought of wanting to benefit others. And when thought of benefiting others becomes, stronger, more intense, that thought eventually turns into bodhicitta, or altruistic mind, or awakening mind. And once you reach at that thought, of benefiting others, then that thought has no kind of space for self-cherishing thought or ego mind. That altruistic mind is a mind purely of benefiting others, and there comes the real practice of mind training, and so this is the meaning behind the purpose of mind training, to reach or to attain happiness of the mind, to give encouragement, a sense of conviction, a power to your mind, and to reach to the stage where you have a complete control over your thought and mind. In creating positive activities or virtuous activities, there's no effort at all. Your mind kind of does it so spontaneously. So here, in creating a virtuous deed means in benefiting others. And under the practice of mind training, we see kind of offering, your service, your body for the sake of others. We see these kind of practice in the Guru Puja recitation, and it talks about offering yourself or your service to victorious and the son of victorious one, which basically refers to enlightened beings and their followers, because those enlightened beings and their followers are, again, when you follow them, there's nothing other than kind of engaging solely in the benefit of others. So under this practice, if you're not able to kind of engage in a very genuine practice, but even if you are doing something very small, we can kind of start with a small practice of this generating a thought of benefiting others and engaging under that thought. With that kind of intention, it becomes accumulations of small bits here and there, and then making it a large, just like kind of making an ocean from a drop of water. So so it's kind of important to whatever positive or virtuous activities that we do, try to do it in a complete form, with having its preparation, actual stage, and then a conclusion, all kind of in a complete form.
이 앞에 당부 민중장, 이니 미지장, 이니 성격이 로장인데도 자네 타비천이 로장사들이 이 생각대와 시위적이었을거야. 이 응아의 존재나 양대럽에 내린다지 무슨 수도와 아주 성격이 또 다른 성격 진짜의 성격도 사기 사샤고 어떻게 이거 사용만 성격이 로장에서 상이 사법도로 해라. 무시기 라침 무시기지. 타비천 로장사대 답에 생기하게로 해서. 그때 이거라 전주 코로나한테 수도야. 대위 금 구슬 전 군슬왜 전주 선지 따준 내내 대원로와 선지수 이름 그 어떻게 하기 나라도 코로나라 책 말이는 때마다도 셈나 변화래 셈나 지 미서벨에 오도와 이 뭐 아주 로드 마샤를 타리 장주기 셈 말이 배운 게 중에 동안 딱다 생겼어 병은 탐제세네 네베 더동 델라베 지 수소 동안 지도 제나 마죠 라나 좀 좀 선선 더는 좋아해 거래 디 제나니베 디 딘디 고갑지 동안세야 고갑지 토베 있나 델리 좋아해 거래 젠게는 수수 나치긴지나 조바고 뭐야게 기초 선선데 좋아해 거래 이 누가 대외 병 분석 와세요 어떻게 도와 자주 선택 따주는 거 딸에 비시하고 다들이 돌아든 바게 되는 나마다 이게 지금 무시하는 대형 말들이 마음에 야간에나 딸기다 근데 맞아 주시지 되는 하잖네 인상선지 이나 데레 조금 먹고 와다 전주 있으면 조금은 배장이 절대 짱이는 말이야 어떤 수인데가 나도 미네비냐인데라 눈이 능인지 전주 있으면 냠냠 맞아 요 어떤 수치네 타비전에 로장사대 독수리 다 새롭게 전 로장말라 아니 즉 뭐니 리피가 어떤 일인지 답답해 또 좋은 공부를 보시면 되겠다 엄마를 저쪽에서 계속 다니 아니 송이도 됐다 가장 진지야 이제는 무시쇼 아니 라면 처먹다 단단히 되기나 라통 같은 거 와지 독수리 아니 돈담비 다 로장에다 다외처럼 로장에다 돈이 또 그만 다음마저 탁 호랑이와 말해 어떤 수지 즉 람탑시 민세한테 또 수진이 온 거 알았어 로장 담배라
generating altruistic mind of the higher vehicle or Mahayana altruistic mind. We see kind of altruistic mind of Mahayana categorizing into 22 different forms or types. And when we look at the path, these generations of altruistic mind of Mahayana actually starts from path of accumulation. Within the path of accumulation, a small stage until into the highest stage of enlightenment. So if you look at the the extension, it is extended from path of accumulation until enlightenment. So it's really extensively kind of broad. And when talking about training of mind, altruistic mind, we can look at method aspect. The method aspect here, as we mentioned before, begins with kind of generation of renunciation based on one's own experiences, and then kind of based on renunciation generating compassion, and then transforming that compassion into altruistic mind. Altruistic mind such as cloud-like altruistic mind. It is the altruistic mind at the stage of enlightenment. So going through these processes of mind training, especially the method side, can become the cause of immense joy and bliss and happiness when one's follow these stages or path. Therefore, we see Shantideva's text talking about using a metaphor and saying that riding the mind of altruism. It's like going from one happy stage to another happier stage. So who else will kind of be lazy, in not wanting to do that? So once you engage in the practice of altruism, when you face a suffering, hardship, problem, instead of having a feeling of difficulties, one will have a feeling of embracing joy, that it is good to face this kind of problem. It will have my own kind of practice of patience. And so otherwise, usually in ordinary feeling for ordinary people, when we face small problem, instead of kind of able to deal with it in a very positive way, the small problems becomes a cause of huge suffering to us. But however, that is not the case with when somebody engage in the practice of altruistic mind. And obviously, Shantideva is using a metaphor of riding a horse, in a sense that one can go quickly from one stage to another. And nowadays there are lots of other kind of modern means to use for this metaphor. From the wisdom side or wisdom aspect, for this practice of altruism, you can look at the great text by Nagarjuna. His six great heaps of teachings or philosophical text, and text like Stages of Path, Great Stages of Path by Lama Tsongkhapa. And in this text, we can see under the section where text deals with the special insight meditation. Basically, all of this comes under the understanding of reality of things, or understanding of emptiness.
뭐에 내수 간대시죠. 근데 제주 상로 당 거야. 상로 양양 당 거야. 맞아. 뭐 통론데 가라. 자와 간대지 통나. 수도 유로 코랑은 좀 되게 좀 어떤 낭주지도 와. 이 낭주지 다다돼요. 이 낭주지 가고 와. 대낭 대라 대낭대요. 대배 나와. 수도 나와 대요. 이 대낭주 다다래요. 뭐에 내수라 뒤지지는 그게 뭐고 쳐봐질 때네 때 차게 뭐고 쳐내게 그런 대기 전에 누구로 봐있나 이렇게 뭐다 누구야 살고 딘두가라 that's 원이 계속 맞아 통문이 가라 루 라바인 루 지지 나도 달리지나 하기 그런 원이 좀 되게 나오지 도와 이 가지 나오지 있을 거야 다시 가자된 루관신은 낭승이 개병 거여래 민항생 개병 공보여 다시 곧 뒤지지 다난 가 원본 나로 만나로 아주 통지가라 자기 일 코란 수도도 위계는 맞아버서 되지 캐릭터 쪽이지 남겨와 이 나와도 다단데요 말이야 이 만데지가 이 나와도 다 내수를 가리니 아주 나가나 진지 내도 어디 되지 당 거야 얘가 시부지 삼모망고 마다나 직 제발 가야 많이 받삼 말해 어때 많이 받삼 지가 산다이나 때 많이 받삼다 계산 처리배 유전도 좀 어디 잔전다나 많이 받지다 처리 받는 게 이거 아띠가 나비 투모만 봐 민샤 따요 잠들이야 탄이 지하상지 하고 도와 대라 이제 탄이 군소비 세면미는 봐 대라 탄이 세면미는 봐 대라 전담이 세면미는 봐 아니 탄이도 잡아서 돼 양 기초 숨창 본 지샤고 도 어떻게 감가 즉 디나 세고도 와 저지로 이안에도 산다 뭐 제베이나 되니 시니 즉 답하기 젠들기 와 이 차례시고 거 그게 젠들이 나다 차다 차징이 젠들이 나다 민자 다이서 미 젠들이 나다 근데 차 라산 차로 누가 이니가 시고 게 침벌에 말아도 지 어떻게 되는지가 계속 양양도 삼다 다지 팔체 마선이지나 미돌 성통 과에 참고 와요 미도지 같이 말해 깨워니 깨워드니 선은 와서 이또 두고 말 가고 그러지 않겠네 어떻게 되는지가 미도 가서 또 너무 강조나 라텔레가 지나 티탈리지나 성탄이 또 쓰니 성탄이나 즉 거기 또 쓰다 제발 찾아와 와서 또 쓰래 와서 또 뒤 보면 제가 시고 계신 말 와서 대진이 와서 다 누스는 같이 당고 나무 그랑 그랑 성탄에 개체쇼리 와서 나무나 이네 디다 다 도시는 삼단 도시인다 동이도배 동이생인데 동반이 세대 동세대 나랑 나주기 동와세고 나주 나진지 뭐줘봐 나주 나진지 매바 있어 어도 삼을잖아 또 스펜다 연구 삼도 우세
especially in the section of special insight part of these stages of path Lamrim text, and in this text too, when it talks about identifying the object of negation, those were under this we find the concept of emptiness. Emptiness, understanding understanding that things the way they appear to us and the reality behind it. And although they appear to us as if they exist self-sufficiently, independently, objectively, intrinsically, but that is simply an appearance to us, and that is not the reality. So we need to intentionally kind of negate that kind of appearance, and then the reality is that especially object that has a form and shape is the combination of gathering of many kind of different parts. At least at the minimum level, it must have 8 substances or substantial entities. And but however, when things appear to us, when we look out, we don't see that reality. We see kind of they appears out there independently, and there's a big kind of debate whether the appearance is happening at the level of sensory level consciousness or not. But however, here that mode of appearance, that things exist independently out there, intrinsically, naturally, objectively, self-sufficiently, that appearance is not the reality. So if that is not the reality, then we need to be thinking about what is the reality of how things exist. And so we need to kind of do further kind of investigation. And when we do further investigation, coming to the sort of conclusion of not finding, that is not the conclusion at all. Nowadays we do find in scientific understanding that they also find the conclusion of not findable, but that is not the end. Finding or not findable is not kind of the ultimate understanding. And so in Buddhist unique approach, we see kind of positing existence of things at the level of conventional reality or relative reality. And they do exist and they do function, and they exist at the level of merely designation, conventional, and by citing kind of 3 different logical reasoning. And so when we go further into this process of understanding, we are going into a more subtler understanding of how things exist in reality. And Geshe-la is saying that for himself, this might require many kind of lifetime and many kind of generations, or to kind of go into and investigate. So the point here is that to begin with, it's important to kind of first have some thinking, contemplation about the mode of things at the level of appearance, how they appear to us, and then going further into what is the reality behind it. So just kind of making these small steps in more kind of contemplation, more thinking. The very kind of understanding behind this word emptiness, empty of what? Empty of empty. Empty in a sense that it is empty of ultimate existence, or it's empty of intrinsic. It doesn't exist the way it appears to us, and so this kind of small step at the beginning might be kind of helpful here.
투투 주어대지 동도와 가지 즉 가자 렌렌도 렌진렌도 렌진데 zember zimba lo chinchilo de mea chani ani zember maduba pe diji gi cheji na ye mambo de tu dimaji cheji na ani korayan kasorta agi hien randa la dia yomati ya kutuje ta umara gi de cha 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 soji 자 초보하래. 어서 도시네 민가 다였던지 통조이나 도시네 그 자고 왔다까지 라문이 뭐 코랑원이 뭐도 수두기 뭐도 뜨다가 다 두산 민점 사상스 정도 민기랑 다였던 어다 이거가 군진 자시가 라문이 내게 민데 하다가 순수도 왔던데 지내나가 좀지 사회나가 코난 이 코난 수도 두고요 말때 즉 민가 대기 이제 자체가 같이 두고 봐. 어떻게 사모 망고지 마타는 레라보지 또 두고요 말이 이때 레라보지 하고에 백하고 양 가고를 자야 된 싸우니 말이 사모 마타는 그이 거의 이 그룹 가는 말 코레게 탑름 진다요 말 양이야도 상다 어디 시분 내지 뭐 보다 대자라로 아니지 양 여름시다 때나는 약속 경건음식 숭 단다 로종 시계만인 쇼로가 탐학 깜바니데 탐의 깜바니데 어디 딜은 경건음식 대시 경우도 어다 티 나네 dengon gumata bulunca şişiyor şişebu 정도 이시 년나 근데 양 레첼에 야마 보지 땡땡 용도 어떻게 쉬우게 좀 간지 경건 무슨 소리 년나 약속들이 맞아서 니 그게 라가 경건 무슨 숨년나 땡땡 경험 좀 거래
These two kind of point understanding of emptiness and then generation of altruistic mind. The objective of these two are, for the altruistic mind, it is aiming at to destroy this, very egocentric, self-grasping mind, and therefore the objective to accomplish is to attain, other cherishing thought. On the other hand, emptiness, the target here is to destroy, true existence, innate or natural existence of phenomena, and therefore that kind of hurts truth grasping mind, and the objective is to destroy that, to gain the understanding of lack of inherent existence or lack of intrinsic existence. And it could further kind of varies, for example, for composite phenomena, whatever things that is by nature composite or that is based on cause and effect, by nature it is combination of many different factors and causes and conditions. For non-composite phenomena, although that is not same as the composite phenomena, but again here it depends on, for example, school, autonomous school, they use combination of main body and different parts of the main body. And for middleware consequent schools, they use simply or merely designation or imputation, and that's how things exist. And in the root text by Kuntian Jaban Sheba, he talks about existence merely by or through imputation, imputation by conceptual thoughts and the naming, and everything functions at that level. So this kind of understanding requires a lot of thinking and setting and practice. Contemplation. Probably one of the best way would be listening to teachings of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and especially when he explains the two final sentences of the 8 verses of training the mind. He explains sort of in depth, lack of this concept, the lack of true existence, which is like an illusion. So he explains in depth kind of the understanding of emptiness. So His Holiness kind of explains very clearly, precisely, under that teaching, in that teaching, and for us it is difficult even to kind of sort of repeat or imitate. Maybe it's because of course not having enough experience, or maybe what we call the karmic result of negative body or negative speech, in which, because of maybe layers and layers of negativities that we cannot express clearly or imitate, or and sometimes that would be the cause. And when you have purified all levels of negativities related to physical body and mind, your all of 3 becomes so kind of you can have a complete control over all of those, and you can engage in any way, every way, physically, verbally, mentally. But however, because of if there is not that karmic seed, one won't be able to do that. And when His Holiness kind of explains, out of his genuine understanding and practice, it's so clear, so precise, as if it's kind of unknotting, the knots, and it's therefore really kind of helpful. Kolwang alembe.
뭐 만되겠지. 아니 대대지라 아니 딱 이제는 이거 말아 왔다지. 볼was 딱 아다 방고대 비도 지권조수 헨로당 신들 유배 라마다 하마서 딘치에 내라 밀어서 충 제난 리준의 제외 콘트롤 마셔와 자오 세리가라 뭐니 다 레기데 용 권조수 요 말이잖아 권조수나 콜라 차고래 다 이도 체단에 요 말에서 라바이나 다 옛날 소소 요아제 하거나야 야 캠 충사거네 딜라이네 베 마라도 마테리 히야도 데리 제나 니바 지침으로 하다 지침으로 kelobne kembo da loban te zoina kembo zorijina domba jeba lobna so ba ne te change me te ne change me te ne te ndi eni pela ji tos mare marina jeina jawa kali jena te zo ne ba ji bo chuli be lama se o ta kele phamason so so rinji bitin din sa te mi so te ni te to i kadina sa sa che bo ne te ni ta 조세 셈나라 추가지네 컨트롤러 서버 그러니까 데디기 쇼축도 말서 다테 수고래 니바 튀군도 한다 젠치도 니비 네 나미 꿀라 뉴몬키 고마워요 제가도 잡았자고 다들 뭐 말 소소 냠바 얘기지라 뭐 가리나마나 같이 돈이 가래 돈에 다 먹으시 소소년도 진데 된다라 밖에 유모게 유망의 거 어떻게 인디마다 제술아야 삼을 땅에 가만 먹어요 나는 유모미게 가만 장부리 이렇게 추구하네
We will continue with the reading text on page 94. Train consistently to deal with difficult situations. So, kind of here presents the 5 kinds of difficult situation in which we should be doing kind of extra careful, cautious. And here definitely it's talking about cautious of one's own emotion, mental or cautious or awareness. 5 kinds of difficult situation. Firstly, since even slight misbehavior towards the 3 jewels, your abbot, spiritual master, parents, and so forth, who are all very kind to you, is extremely serious. You should be careful not to lose your temper with them. So, of course, kind of misbehaving towards one's, spiritual teacher, your abbot, and 3 jewels, it could become kind of a creation of wrong view, and parents, of course, being extremely grateful to you. So therefore, kind of these are object that requires, extreme, care, cautious. Secondly, as there are many opportunities for disturbing emotions to arise in relation to the members of your family, because you live with them all the time, this requires special training. Family members being together all the time, so there is more kind of opportunities to engage in all kinds of physical, verbal, mental, action that you might use or throw them upon. So therefore, requires kind of a special training and special care.
개침스러. 어다 된들라 세민딩이 나 센터원에 아니 배하게 이제 센터들이 지기어 말해. 어다 나이갈라 이런 다니 시안은 전주나라 나이갈라 개wen 나이게 제작도 와. 이 가르치다가 네투 네 아니 배 jungle sayade tisoda gewe ngajal ngol tango wa ni ene pe ngajal jong nugure sede ngajal la jago wa gewe ngajal pa na simbe gone ene pe kyangba shikena e ni di ngajal oda tu ste tisoya kyangba shikwa oda ti tu shine tiso ke chambore oda ti indigala maranzo nyamdan denge chotana bayinanda to chotro yinanda 인한다 이 윤도 년도에 그랬다더니 이 생각들이 좀 이렇게 재밌어요 막 거기다 말았지 그래서 저거에 세상과에 근데 이게 대외 철학적이나 비슷해
Thirdly, you should train yourself, particularly in relation to everyone, whether an audience or lay person who appears to be your rival. Otherwise, when even a small misfortune befalls them, it may create satisfaction in your heart. Here, some example, but you can also extend, especially towards people that you interact with, especially people that with whom you have received teachings, and we use obviously would dharma friends, and with whom you have received initiation or empowerment, tantric. You use Vajra kind of relatives. So having negative thoughts like hatred, envious, jealousy, could be of immense, negative impact, and therefore being, careful. In terms of pride or arrogance, not sure, I can use the same word, but in Shantideva text, he talks about, pride or arrogance, which could interpret in a positive way, arrogance or pride in which not kind of you are, belittling others, but you are kind of further boosting, enforcing your kind of sense of confidence. So maybe sometimes it's not, translated as a sense of confidence, and that is something positive, that is something needed in the practice. So we need to that a sense of conviction or maybe determination or confidence that I can defeat or I can overcome attachment, desire, hatred, and that thought is sometimes, or mental factors is designated as, the word arrogance or pride or.
이 자원은 주 누구도 제주도 와 자원 셈 중대 주 누구 그런 말와 같이 자야돼 파자시
And this, sense of encouragement or sense of confidence is needed in order, first of all, to kind of engage in this kind of, practice. And along with that, rejoicing or appreciating those who are engaging in the positive deeds or actions, and then kind of, be guidance or maybe advising towards those who are engaging in negative. So all of this comes under the this point.
su tadon pe yala chingin tanda minda chingin e yungo tarun tella tadun teda yini tella tadun lojon sige me na ji samdaina su pa ji penda dingina digin golo chingina tella tadun pe misukane jamni je sobo komya te chebu sobo gaji daki penda rewa kaji 까지 한다고 내가 저 신인이 내지 신인도 받아 왔어. 그런데 너무 라만에 있다고 우리 있어서 파 펜다이나. 그럼 오늘 전에 펜바다는 펜다베 펜바리 펜비 두고 와서 수 너가 저기나 내가 그런데 저에 라만에 진짜네. 이제 타고 그래서 중국어를 딱 오늘 소스파 개개 제메나야. 수수 가서지 님의 중에 있는다. 지 따지 더 참아 가르치나 때라 하기 콘진디오 말이다 또다 뭐만 때 콘진디오 말이 때라 콘인제 가나기 파나마시 미리도 파나마시 두스니 녀몽이 영어도 보고 아래 아 그래서 남비민 주지 남바지 녀몽을 껴도 당연지 이거 말아 제가 있나? 소스 같이 딱 당분이 되지니 두세나 상당히 텐데 셈나 햄부르고 어떻게 되고 미숙한 장면이 세대주라 장면이 세상의 멤버나 니지 렌타 체즈리 tar 중인 차오 스타트 뭐래 제당 수리가라 타 하기 가서래 이제 타반에 가서 콘트롤에 납치되기도 와. 타 데이트가라 제당기 멤버나 니지는 할때 제당 끼어도가 니지 파절에 미비 니지게 백하고로 일간에 제당 계시 유들의 니지 내가 갑도 되게 백하고로 요것도 뜻인 거야. 인디가라 시부 잠자게 거래 뜻인 거야. 제당이 오늘 시부지 잡지고 수도 진주 무슨 무슨 베이비 나타나 세우려 레상보가 와서 레상보가니 근데 제당 기와 이나 디다 도보 고마케라는 게 제지 대산 좀 버티면 투천부이 말이니 된리기 되는 제가 쉬우지 잡침부 좀 수도 그다 된리기 괜찮은 수에서
Fourthly, you should make a point of training yourself in relation to those who accuse you when you have done nothing against them, because there's a risk that, as the saying goes, if the fire of hatred burns, the moisture of compassion will dry up. And this is kind of a similar practice that we see in the 8 verses of Transforming the Mind, where it mentions not only that somebody who is kind of stranger and then harming you, that you have done nothing, but extending your kind of practice even more towards people that are really kind of rude to you, unfriendly to you. And so in the 8 verses of Transforming the Mind, we see the verse in which it says, when one whom I have benefited with great hope unreasonably hurts me very badly, I will learn to view that person as an excellent spiritual guide. So somebody who is that you have benefited and helped all the time, and you did your best, but in return you received kind of really kind of rude harm, and to that kind of person says, you, instead of being harmed and being offended, you should view that person as an excellent spiritual guide. So kind of needing more kind of attention to this kind of a particular sort of relations, and as saying goes, if the fire of hatred burns, the moisture of compassion will dry up. The hatred, of course, when there's a hatred, there's no opportunity for compassion to arise and practice. And unlike many other negative emotions, we see hatred as one of the most intense negative emotion, with the great a power of destruction. And for that, we can look into Shantideva's text, again, Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, chapter 6, in which Shantideva talks about the practice of patience, and the opposite of patience being hatred and anger. And for ordinary people, the hatred causes obstacles such as destructions of one's positive activities and roots of positive activities, and not kind of attaining higher realizations or higher level of practice when you have hatred. We'll take a break here.